Welcome to the Boomers, Bucks, and Bling podcast, where we turn retirement planning into a bit of a thrill ride. I'm your host, Carl Spiteri, and each week we'll dive into everything from reverse mortgages and staying put in style to Medicare, Social Security, and home safety. But wait, there's more. We're not just going to talk all about money and business. We're going to add some sparkle, some bling, as we chat with travel pros, party planners, and a lot of different topics that's going to help you make the most of your golden years. So grab a cup of tea or whatever it is you want to drink, get comfy, and let's make retirement planning an adventure of a lifetime. Hi, welcome to this edition of Boomers, Bucks, and Bling. Today we have Johanna Gach coming back to talk to us. She was on a few weeks ago and I think hit it out of the park, and we thought we'd have her. She committed on that recording to come back and talk to us, so we had to bug her again. But we're here to take a little different approach to healthcare now. So we're gonna talk about the moment where you go, this aging in place thing is not working, and we're gonna have to maybe take other steps. Is it move in with family? Is it family moving in with mom or dad? Is it going into a facility? And these become, in my opinion, in my history, they become harder choices to make as it progresses. So we're gonna
That is 100% right.
it's just they get really, really challenging. It's just hard to make those decisions, those choices. So anyway, Johanna, tell us a little bit about your experience. I know you told us a little bit last time, but if somebody's new to the
Yeah.
program, tell us what you do.
Okay. So I'm an expert in senior living. I have been in all the different aspects of it. I've done placement where I help families find boarding care or retirement communities for their loved ones. I've worked at communities themselves. And now I am working for a home care company where we bring people in for extra help.
Okay.
So today I wanted to talk about what happens when you need to weigh how much money you have left to take care of your loved one. And Carl, I think, I'm going to really want your input on this one too, because this is something that you deal with a lot too.
Yeah, if anybody listens to this show, I'm an advocate for reverse mortgages. I think a lot of people have to carefully consider them, that they're not for everybody, but a lot of times it can be a good step toward being able to look in the future and be able to make sure this is financeable before the time comes. So anyway, just to throw that in there.
Right. Admitting that you have some kind of memory loss, that that you're not as sharp as you used to be, is devastating to deal with. When you're on that precipice of most of what's going on, but you don't really know everything that's going on, is it makes a lot of people really upset, and they aren't necessarily calm enough to start making the decisions they need to make early. Like you were talking about, like reverse mortgages, where that you can get that money out before you need it. The money that it's going to be put in place for your care before you get there.
All right. The thing with, I would imagine, coming to that realization is, once you come to that realization, it's probably almost an immediate need as opposed to a planning need. And my point when I speak to people about reverses, while you don't need it, maybe get it in place. It doesn't cost you.
Right.
It doesn't cost you anything of closing costs and that kind of thing, but it doesn't cost you anything if you don't use the money. But once you need the money because of Alzheimer's, dementia, catastrophic stuff that goes on in elder, it's almost too late to get it. So you have to sell the house. So you have to displace yourself in order to get into a facility, but you can't get into a facility until you displace yourself. And then it's families coming in, and it just kind of a big mess. So
exactly. And in most of the cases, people have enough wherewithal when they first start realizing what's happening to get that reverse mortgage and to plan for themselves instead of waiting for somebody else. Also, the great option is that because reverse mortgages don't need to be paid until the person vacates the property.
Paid off, yeah. Paid off,
yeah. So then that is perfect for when you need to go into maybe a memory care community, where you get more help.
So
And
describe memory care community, because I'm not real familiar with that.
So memory care is specifically for people that have Alzheimer's and dementia. And different communities take different levels of need. I worked at a place where it was secured. It was part of a larger community, but the memory care part of it was secured so that they could not, get out and walk down the street by themselves and get lost.
Wander off, yeah.
Yeah. It had a beautiful koi pond, so that they didn't feel locked in. But, they didn't recognize their loved ones. They, they kind of revert back to their true personalities.
So that is almost always a live-in facility. There's not an outpatient.
So no, and that is actually where the big intersection comes.
Okay.
Is it cost effective to put that money towards a memory care community, or to put that money towards bringing in home health or home care to help at home?
Okay.
So, when a spouse or a child is with them, they can stay in place longer. But more and more, San Diego is a town where people come to retire and their kids maybe aren't here. And then it really, sometimes home care becomes just more than the cost of the community, which is already pretty pricey. So it's about the planning ahead of time. It's about having that money ready for you when and if you should need it.
Okay. So I try to keep our audience, I hate when people talk in generalities, because it's
okay.
It's for what should people be planning for. So let's say somebody needs to, tell us again what in-home care could cost somebody from a licensed, bonded, reputable company.
So if somebody needs full-time care,
okay,
they're at home with dementia or Alzheimer's, and they need full-time care, it can cost upwards of $12,000 a month in just bringing somebody in to help.
Okay, full-time being 24/7?
Yes, or maybe just probably close to 18 hours a day, probably.
18 hours a day. Okay. So they're not sleeping there, but somebody is there.
Maybe they are. I mean, yeah, somebody's there most of the time. Usually family finds a way to mitigate the costs, but it can be up to 14,000, depends on how much care the person needs. To bring somebody into the house can cost $14,000 to $16,000 a month.
Okay. All right. So we have $12,000 to $16,000 a month for somebody with Alzheimer's dementia. What if they don't have Alzheimer's dementia? They're 98 years old and kind of immobile or something. What is the cost drop from there? Or is it pretty much the same thing?
No, actually, the cost drops significantly.
Okay.
So again, you get what you pay for in life.
Yeah, we're still talking full-time care, though. We're trying to compare apples to apples, so we're still talking full-time. Okay.
Full-time care. So, a upper middle class person could afford a retirement community, typically about the $4,000 to $6,000 a month range. But that includes all your bills, all your meals, everything that you could possibly need. Somebody that's there to check for your medications, somebody to help with mobility, getting in and out of bed. It's all included in that amount.
That $4,000 to $6,000 in San Diego County for a reasonably nice, nothing super high, nothing super low, something reasonably nice. Okay. Go ahead.
So then when you get to memory care, you're going to start, that's when it increases. So that 4,000, or that, like, yeah, the basic low 4,000, when you get to memory care, becomes a low of like 8,000.
Okay. So it probably doubles when it comes to memory care. Okay,
Yeah.
so what am I getting for my $4,000 to $8,000? What is it? Is it a private room with a bath? Is it?
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
It's a
Okay.
private room with a bath, and a dining room that's open all the time, and a menu so that you actually get to, it's not like hospital, where they bring you
Mm-hmm.
food. Like, you go to sit down at the restaurant and order off the menu, and
Uh-huh.
there's activities. We throw parties. We have happy hour. I ran a book club. So you get socialization too. Even though you
Mm-hmm.
have your own space, your own room, your own bathroom, you're not isolated. And that is one of the big issues that comes with aging in place.
Sure. Sure. Okay. So it basically it seems to be significantly less if you're at that point of needing pretty much full-time assistance. It's probably about half the cost of being in your own home.
That's what we found. We found that typically when your loved one gets to the point where they need dementia care, um, it is more cost effective to go to a community. It is
Okay.
just too much money to bring somebody in. Though in assisted living, when we're talking about the lower end where you just need some assistance in the community,
Mm-hmm.
very often people will bring in home home care just to help them with other things, maybe companionship or some light housekeeping, or driving errands. So there are ways to augment the care that you're getting at assisted living as well.
So you have assisted living in a facility.
Mm-hmm.
You're going to bring in you, someone who works with your company to go to doctor's appointments or take him to church or to
Exactly.
whatever. Yeah. Okay.
Exactly. Yeah. Um, yeah, exactly. That's exactly how it works. And
Okay.
yeah, so sometimes if you have family members, it makes sense to age in place with dementia, because it's an area they know, at least they look around, it's their things, but at some point, it really depends on the planning that you've done,
Mm-hmm.
on what you can do.
It's funny when we talk to first-time home buyers, we talk to them about planning their first home, or when we do cash out refinances for people, we say, what's your financial plan? Why do you want to lower your interest rate? Why do you need to save money? Or what's the plan here for the money you're saving? And we find that most people spend more time planning their vacations than their financial future, right?
Yeah, because we never think we're going to get old.
Yeah. So planning for aging, I think should be almost a lifelong journey, to where, as soon as you turn X amount of years, you know exactly where it's going to go from here, because it's all been planned out. And unfortunately, nobody does. It's pretty challenging that we all know we're going to get old. I mean,
Yeah.
there's the other alternative. We don't have anything to worry about, right? So if we know we're going to get old, why aren't we planning for it? And I've always found it's pretty, it's kind of funny. I know it's inflation, it's expenses, it's the
Yeah,
hustle and
but
bustle of
but
life, but
we remember the 80s and then talking about people eating cat food, because they didn't plan, and so Social Security only covered this very little amount.
right.
So, like, we're our boomers are savvier than that.
Hmm.
Um, but
But
really, even
boomers
the
have always
younger,
been big spenders as well, right?
well, that's
Yeah.
true. Very,
Yeah.
very true. Um, but it's really the first time home buyers you were talking about that need to also start thinking about retirement.
Yeah.
And,
Yeah.
yeah.
So what kind of resistance do you see from I know if my kids came up to me and said, "Hey dad, you're moving. You don't have a
Right.
choice."
Right.
That's not going to be a great conversation, whether I have Alzheimer's or not. I think,
No. And
So,
when I worked in a community. I worked in sales. I was a sales liaison, which meant I dealt with a lot of the families that said, "Hey, mom and dad can't be on their own anymore. They don't know I'm here touring." So we already know that they're going to get sprung on, and it's not a pretty conversation. But if the senior had planned for themselves a little bit ahead of time,
yeah.
And that's why I'm glad that you're making this podcast, because we can talk to the early boomers about making these plans so that you feel secure.
Yeah, yeah. And when we talk about early boomers, late boomers, age isn't really the thing. You could be 90. I mean, I personally knew a 90-year-old woman that could run laps around me. I mean, it is very, very good health. And there's people living into their hundreds these days. So it's not so much age, but it's preparing, being in a position, and then letting the chips fall where they may.
Yeah. I mean, I have a client that's 93 and she only wants everything by email. She hates paper mail. I mean, bless her. So yeah, you're totally right, Carl. It's about the planning. It's about planning a good life for yourself, while you still have the ability to have some longevity to make that money grow.
Okay. So let me ask you, how do you handle a situation where Alzheimer's has set in, I guess, and not a lot of planning has been done, and say there's kids or a spouse, and there's no power of attorneys, there's nothing in place. What happens then?
Well, if there's a spouse, then legally the
Yeah.
spouse can do everything, right?
Yeah, exactly.
And again, also with children, it's the same situation.
Oh, children can do anything. Okay.
Yeah. It's really when we run into the situation is when, when the old bachelor only has a nephew, in New York, or those are the kind of situations that I usually deal with that.
And how do you deal with it?
Well, I'm real hands-on. I get them in touch with the right people. So I bring in a fiduciary. I bring in, so that I'm not the one that makes them feel pressured or anything like that, but that I can help give them as many resources as they need in order to get done what has to get done.
Okay. All right.
Yeah, and mortgage brokers. Very often the kids are going to have to sell the house in order to pay for the parents' care.
Yeah.
So it's about making sure that I have resources for my clients.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I think the moral to this whole conversation is planning. You've planned for your wedding, you've planned for your schooling, you've planned for your kids, you've planned for whatever it is you plan for. Maybe put a lot more thought into the aging process, not just planning for retirement, but planning for the end.
Case. Right.
Because you just don't know.
Yeah. I mean, I am planning my 100th birthday in Italy.
Good.
Yeah.
Good. I hope I get to come.
Oh, I hope so too.
Johanna, this has been really great. Why don't you tell us how people can get a hold of you, because you're a wealth of information, and I think it'd be valuable for people to jot down your information.
Oh, I appreciate that. Again, my name's Johanna Gach, and you can get me at 858-346-0569. And our company is called Griswold Home Care for La Jolla. You can look up Griswold Home Care. You can find us there. But if you want to get to me directly, it's my first name, Johanna, Johanna, my last name, Gach, Gach, at griswoldhomecare.com.
Great. Johanna, thank you so much for coming with us again. I promise I won't just keep pestering you all the time for your trying to take your knowledge from you, but
oh no,
it's so important that we share. It's so important.
No, I really appreciate being invited, and I'm making a promise on air that I will come again if you ask.
All right. Thank you very much. Thanks for coming on. Bye-bye.
All right. My pleasure.
Thanks for tuning in to this episode of Boomers, Bucks, and Bling. We hope we've managed to mix a little enlightenment along with fun. If you enjoyed our conversation, don't forget to hit the subscribe button so you'll never miss out. And if you got a moment, drop us a review. It helps spread the word and keeps us motivated to continue. Got burning questions? Hot topics you want us to dive into? Let us know on our website or social media. Until next time, Carl Spateri here to remind you to tackle retirement with a big smile and a whole lot of energy.